Bobby Jenks, the hard-throwing, larger-than-life pitcher who helped deliver a long-awaited World Series title to the Chicago White Sox, has passed away at the age of 44. His death, which occurred on July 4, was the result of a fierce and prolonged battle with adenocarcinoma, a rare and aggressive form of stomach cancer. His passing has left a deep void in the hearts of baseball fans, teammates, and the entire White Sox organization, for whom he was not just a player, but a symbol of resilience, redemption, and raw power. Born on March 14, 1981, in Mission Hills, California, Robert Scott Jenks came into this world with the kind of spirit that refused to be broken. His journey to Major League Baseball wasn't a straightforward one, and the path he walked was filled with both triumph and turmoil. From an early age, Jenks stood out, not just for his size, but for the thunderbolt he could throw from the mound. His fastball routinely touched triple digits, a rare weapon that would soon earn him recognition across the baseball world. But talent, as anyone who has followed Jenks' story knows, was only one part of the equation. His rise through the ranks, and eventual fall, was marked by injuries, personal struggles, and a relentless drive to find meaning both on and off the field. Jenks first burst onto the national baseball scene as a high school phenom. His velocity made him the kind of player scouts couldn't ignore, but he also came with warning signs. Injuries plagued him early, and there were concerns about his off-field behavior and work ethic. Despite these red flags, he was selected in the 5th round of the 2000 MLB draft by the Anaheim Angels, who saw the potential in his powerful right arm. However, it wouldn't be with the Angels that Jenks would make his mark on history. After a tumultuous stint in the minors, marked by injuries and inconsistency, the Angels released him in 2004. The move could have been the end of his major league dreams, but it turned out to be the beginning of something remarkable. The Chicago White Sox claimed Jenks off waivers, a low-risk move that would pay unimaginable dividends. By 2005, Jenks had made his way to the major league roster, a 6'3", 275-pound force of nature who quickly earned a reputation for his no-nonsense attitude, his intimidating presence, and his unwavering determination. When he took the mound, it felt like something seismic was about to happen. And during that unforgettable 2005 postseason run, something truly historic did. It was Game 4 of the 2005 World Series, and the White Sox were on the cusp of breaking an 88-year championship drought. The pressure was immense, the stakes enormous. In the bottom of the 9th inning, Jenks was handed the ball and tasked with finishing what the team had worked so hard to achieve. With his signature fastball blazing, he delivered a scoreless inning, ultimately inducing a game-ending groundout from Orlando Palmeiro. That final out not only sealed the game, but it etched Bobby Jenks' name into the annals of baseball history forever. He raised his arms, his face full of emotion, and the White Sox dugout erupted. Chicago had done the unthinkable, they were champions again. In the days, weeks, and years that followed, Jenks' performance in that World Series became part of baseball folklore. He wasn't just a closer, he was a warrior. That moment, that game, became the defining image of his career, standing on the mound, unshakable, powerful, and triumphant. We have lost an iconic member of the White Sox family today, White Sox chairman Jerry Reinsdorf said in a statement following Jenks' passing. None of us will ever forget that 9th inning of Game 4 in Houston, all that Bobby did for the 2005 World Series champions and for the entire Sox organization during his time in Chicago. He and his family knew cancer would be his toughest battle, and he will be missed as a husband, father, friend, and teammate. He will forever hold a special place in all our hearts. Jenks' story didn't end with that championship. He went on to make the All-Star team twice, in 2006 and 2007, becoming one of the most dominant closers in the game during that time. His imposing frame, paired with his command on the mound, made him a nightmare for opposing batters. At his peak, he was virtually unhittable. Yet, like so many athletes whose bodies give everything to their sport, Jenks' career was not immune to the toll that such greatness often demands. By the end of the 2000s, he began to struggle with back problems, and in 2010, he left the White Sox to sign with the Boston Red Sox. Unfortunately, his time in Boston would be short-lived and filled with pain, both physical and emotional. Multiple back surgeries led to complications, and one botched procedure in particular nearly ended his life. The aftermath was devastating. Not only did it effectively end his playing career, but it also led Jenks down a dark road of addiction, depression, and isolation. He later revealed that he had developed a dependency on painkillers and alcohol during this time, using them as a way to cope with the unbearable physical pain and the psychological toll of watching his career slip away. Despite these hardships, Jenks never stopped fighting. In the years that followed, he opened up about his struggles in candid interviews, shedding light on the darker side of professional sports and becoming a voice for those grappling with similar issues. He made it his mission to rebuild, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually. He went through rehab, reconnected with his family, and eventually found his way back to the game he loved, not as a player, but as a mentor and coach. He took up a coaching role at a high school and later worked with minor league pitchers, using his hard-earned experiences to guide the next generation. His life, once filled with chaos and confusion, began to find clarity. He often spoke about how grateful he was for the second chance life had given him and how his past failures had become the foundation for his personal growth. "There are people in this world who are born to do one thing, and I was born to pitch," Jenks once said. "But I was also born to fall, and to learn how to rise back up." That rise was not easy, but it was inspiring. Jenks had become more than a baseball player. He was a survivor, a husband, a father, and a beacon for those who believed they had gone too far down the wrong path to turn back. His strength, particularly in his final years, left a lasting impact on those around him. "There are only a few people in the White Sox clubhouse whose careers overlapped with Bobby Jenks," said Marcus Thames, the current White Sox hitting coach and a former teammate of Jenks from their time in the Arizona Fall League. But regardless of how long you knew him, he left a lasting mark. He was a gamer. This guy gave you everything he had every single time. I saw him last year. He came to the stadium, and I hadn't seen him in so long, and he gave me one of those big old bear hugs. That hug, that moment, was more than just a reunion. It was a reminder of the kind of man Jenks was, big-hearted, larger than life, and fiercely loyal. His teammates often described him as someone who would go to battle for anyone in his dugout. He was the kind of player who played through pain, who never made excuses, and who never forgot where he came from. Jenks is survived by his wife and children, who stood by him through the highs and the lows. Their support, especially during his health struggles, was something he often spoke about with deep appreciation. In public statements and interviews, he frequently acknowledged that his family gave him a reason to keep fighting when everything else seemed lost. His death on Independence Day carries its own poignancy. For so many, Bobby Jenks represented a kind of freedom, the freedom to overcome, to transform, to take control of one's narrative. He broke free from the limitations others placed on him, from the grip of addiction, and from the bitterness of injury. Even as his body began to fail him again in recent years, he continued to inspire. The baseball world mourns not just the loss of a player, but the loss of a man who showed what it meant to endure. Fans across the country have taken to social media to share their memories, posting photos, videos, and personal anecdotes of meeting Jenks or watching him pitch. One fan wrote, "I'll never forget watching him close out that game in '05. Gave me chills. Thank you, Bobby." In the end, Jenks' story is one of extremes, unforgettable glory, painful missteps, and ultimate redemption. It reminds us that the legends we watch on the field are human. They struggle, they falter, they bleed, and sometimes, they break. But it also reminds us of their ability to rise, to fight, and to leave behind a legacy far greater than any stat line.